So I want to accomplish two things today. First, I want to do this problem, and then second, I want to get any questions answered and all that fun stuff in preparation for our test this weekend. Now, a couple of notes about the test this weekend. It is going to be in two forms, or two parts, I should say, not two forms, two parts. The first part is going to be online on It's Learning multiple choice 18 questions. Okay? Each question is going to be worth half of a point. Okay? The answer to number 18 is yes. Okay? Because number 18 is the graphs that you have to graph for part number 2. Okay, so we made that one be a yes or a no question. Okay? So part 2 is going to be 3 graphs. Okay? Each graph is going to be worth 3 points. 1 point for labeling the vertical axes, 1 point for labeling the horizontal axes, and 1 point for the general shape of the graph. Okay? Together, those two will be worth 9 points each. Okay? So if you only do the online portion, you're only going to get a 50%. If you do both, you have the best chance at getting the best grade possible. Okay? You have to do the first part, the online part, first, because that's where you get the equations that we want you to graph for the second part. Okay? And that question 18 has the 3 graphs. It has all the instructions that you need to do, and so on and so forth. Now, the other thing is that, I guess I got it here. Probably logged. Oh, okay, good. Okay. The other thing is that the second part is going to be turned in much like a homework. So down here on this week's content page, okay, is the link to turn that in. Okay? So that would be where you would turn that in. Here's the link to take part 1 to get to the test on the first part, and then here's the link to submit your work on that. You'll have to take pictures of your graphs and so on and so forth. Okay? Questions on that? Nope. Fantastic. Good, great, grand, and wonderful. Okay? So then, today, we have a graph below that has the average monthly high and low temperatures for Wausau. We're only going to focus in on the high temperatures, but we couldn't find one with just the high temperatures. We want you to make a sinusoidal function for the average high temperature and then to fit our data. Okay? And then we'll talk about what A and D means afterwards. Okay? So what I would like you to be working on right now is I would like you each to come up with a sinusoidal curve, so a trig function curve, for this data. So we kind of left it wide open at carte blanche here on this particular one. So depending on where you started and depending upon how you numbered it is going to depend on your function. Okay? So if you went with January as month number 1 instead of month 0, that's fine. Okay? So if you would have started here, that one would be y equals negative 30 times the cosine of pi over 6 times x minus 1, then plus 51, if we would have started there. Okay. If we would have started again at month, with January being month number 1, but started up here, then it would be y equals positive 30 cosine of pi over 6 times the quantity x minus 7, then plus 51. If we would have started with a sine curve, we would have started kind of right in there, and that would be y equals positive 30 times the sine of pi over 6 times x minus 4, then plus 51. Okay. If we would have considered January as month 0, then this minus 4 in the blue would be minus 3. This minus 1 in the green would be gone. It would just be x in there. And the minus 7 in purple would be minus 6. Questions? Need some clarification on how I came up with my numbers. How did I get the pi over 6? How many months are there in a year? 12. So my period is 12. With me? So period, we said yesterday that period, actually we said it last week, was 2 pi over b, right? And so then b would be equal to 2 pi divided by my period. So 2 pi divided by 12 is pi over 6. Because it doesn't end here. It actually ends back where we started, which would be back in January. Did you have 2 11s or 2 pi over 11 as your b? Oh. Okay. Other questions? The rest of the day today is really yours to do with how you feel. If you want to do some examples, we can do some examples. If you want to get some pointed questions answered, you can get those questions answered. If you want to work on the review assignment that's also due this weekend, you can work on that too. The review assignment is the 4.4 review assignment. It's at the back page, or it's the last sheet on the Spaghetti Lab packet. Okay? It's the one that, I believe it really just says, review 4.4 drafting assignment.